Hello and welcome to EMP Power Sports and Marine in beautiful St. Mary's, Idaho. Today we're going to review the K&L MC25 metric engine stand that we just bought. We've already run into an issue, so we're going to document this. I'm going to have to modify this stand to fit vintage dirt bikes. We have a 1968 Montesa Scorpion 250 motor sitting here on the floor. That was recently on the bench. The stand is adjustable and fully closed. The motor mounts won't quite fit in here, so to K&L, if you're watching, you might want to lengthen these. If you had both of these the same length, the stand would have worked. Because these are shorter and I'm just about a half an inch off from fitting, I'm going to pull this stand apart and cut it down roughly 1 inch. And that should allow me to get this dirt bike motor up on here and other vintage dirt bike motors and still have enough clearance for the vintage sport bikes. I haven't measured a Ducati L Twin 4-valve, but I've measured a 2-valve Ducati, a FCR 750 RT, and a Gixxer 1100. With modifying the stand, it should still fit them, but currently it will not fit the Montesa or Zundap motors, in which I need to rebuild in this shop. All right. So to get our vintage Montesa motor to fit on our K&L MC25 stand, we're going to cut 1 inch off of this bar. This should give us a little bit of clearance we need, as we need about just shy half an inch. So this will give us room to work. Going to use our angle grinder here to get the job done. In the vise. I don't want to go too tight because it's thin metal. All right, we have the engine on the stand. We're going to show you what we did to accomplish this. One, we cut this bar down with our angle grinder 1 inch, which gave us exact clearance we needed to get this up. So we're actually 1 inch off on this. I made shims for the motor mounts. The motor mounts factory are smaller than what the stand will go to. It's about as small stand as you can go. So that's one thing I'd advise K&L on. Maybe, I don't know if they supply a spacer kit. I made them myself. To make my motor mounts, what I ended up doing is I went to the hardware store. I got long bolts. I measured. I need 5-inch bolts, and I forget what the size is. I got metric bolts. I think it's an M10, which is what the motor mounts were, M10. I got M10 washers, and I made shims out of duct tape for the size I needed front and rear. So now the stand, the motor's nice and sturdy on the stand. All I needed to accomplish this was a trip to the hardware store, M10 5-inch bolts. I'm sure somebody's going to run into this. M10 flat washers, Gorilla duct tape, which is the best duct tape you can buy, and an angle grinder to modify the length of my stand. So now we're up. I do have one thing that I noticed. This side locks, which is kind of nice, but there's no lock on the other side. So you can rotate the motor however you want it. When this stand is up and locked in on this side, I do notice it wants to wobble and move on this side, which I don't really care much for. So that's something else. The K&L, we've had pretty good luck with your products. We have a good relationship with you. I would advise to put another lock on this side, so that way you can lock the stand nice and tight on both sides. I do like that it's adjustable. It seems like it's bowing in a little bit. We're on one of the higher settings with the weight of this motor. This isn't a very heavy engine. So if I was going to do a sport bike and I had clearance, I'd probably lower my stand a little bit. But it looks a little thicker metal would have been nice for an engine stand, as like we use for cars and boats. But sorry, the engine stands you use for cars and boats, the metal's a lot thicker, and the way they bolt up is a little bit more user friendly. That stated, for a sub $200 stand dealer cost and sub, I don't know, $300 or $400 stand retail. It's a nice little engine stand. It's adjustable. You can do metric dirt bike motors with it. You can do metric sport bike motors with it. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a total pile of shit, pardon my French, I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, and 10 being totally awesome, just blows me away. The quality of the product, I'd probably rate this somewhere in the ballpark of a 7. I do like it. There's a few issues with it, but I think it's going to work out nicely in the shop, so I'm going to get to work on this 1968 Montesa Scorpion 250 motor, as I've been keeping our client waiting longer than I would have liked and longer than he would have liked. And once I dig into this motor a little bit more, we'll wrap this up and tell you what we think of our stand. Well, today we got a chance to use the MC25 metric engine stand by K&L. I do actually overall like this stand. There's a few things that I think K&L should do to make the stand better. As I already mentioned, you can lock it on this side, but you cannot lock this side. So it wants to wander with the weight, because one side of an engine is usually heavier. Two, I could see with the thin metal, it's kind of compressing a little bit. These old dirt bike motors are heavy, but still sport bike motors are heavier. If we're at a lower setting, I don't think it would be an issue. As I mentioned prior, to get these old dirt bike motors on, I had to cut 1 inch off this bar, and that gave me the exact clearance I needed. The motor mount brackets on the stand didn't come with any hardware or motor mounts. Usually with a car, you just take long bolts or your motor mounts and go on the back plate of your engine stand. With the way this stand works, I had to fabricate these motor mounts. I took shims, which are M10, or I should just say washers. I made shims out of M10 washers and duct tape. So it's a stack of them. And I think there's 21 on this side, and I forget what it was. There was something like 12 or 13 on this side to make it work. And then I got an M10 bolt and nut to make the motor mounts, as the factory motor mounts for this Montesa motor were too small. So if you buy one of these stands, just realize it's not totally plug and play. With anything old, you always have to modify stuff. Overall, the stand worked out great. The motor's still on it. It's more or less supported. I got into digging into it today. We got the stator cover and the stator off of it. Sorry, the stator cover and the flywheel off of it. I'll get to the stator and the cylinder head tomorrow and hopefully get the clutch out of this bike, but I just wanted to wrap it up. Overall, on a 1 being I hate it and a 10 being I love it, I'd rate this stand about a 7. I think there is room to improve. I think there might be better ones out there, but this is a nice little addition. We've had good luck with K&L. Their customer service is good. Their products are pretty good. They are professional grade. We do sell them on emppowersports.com, so if you do want something K&L, handy, coats, we do Motion Pro. We sell tools and equipment along with parts and apparel, so we can get the power dynamo ignition like we're going to pop in here on this build. We can get you fly racing, get you anything you need. I try to give accurate reviews. Like I said, we've had good luck with K&L. They've always taken care of us with any kind of warranty claim. Customer service has always been stellar. Their products are overall pretty good. The stand, like I said, it doesn't break the bank. So overall, I give it a 7, maybe a 7.5. I like it. I'm going to keep it in the shop. If you want yours, go to emppowersports.com. If you like these videos and you like these real world reviews, you smash that like button, you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time at EMP Power Sports and Marine.